A wounded eagle was lying on the ground, crying out for assistance. The chances of anyone discovering it seemed bleak. But what occurs next is sure to tug at your heartstrings. Majestic raptors, eagles are endowed with formidable predatory capabilities and a robust physique that allows them to endure the harshest conditions in the wild. The beak, one of their most potent assets, serves not only to seize and consume prey, but also plays a crucial role in arranging their feathers. Consider the plight of an eagle if it were to lose its beak. This was the unfortunate circumstance faced by Beauty, a bald eagle who fell victim to a poacher's weapon. During a sweltering day in 2005, Beauty was soaring through the sky and subsequently perched atop a tree to rest and survey her surroundings. However, what occurred next would have a lasting impact on her life, and not for the better. One minute she was sitting on a tree searching for her next meal, and the next minute she was on the ground slowly dying. A poacher had sighted her and shot at her. The bullet took the bird down in an instant, brutally taking off most of her beak. Eagle hunters are notorious for either killing these birds for sport or capturing to own them illegally. Poacher must have thought Beauty was dead and left feeling proud of his achievement. The poor eagle, however, was still feeling terrible pain, and her cries could be heard from miles away. Although she was lucky not to have died, her situation was still tragic, because a broken beak would be near impossible to recover from. The chances of the bird surviving without some sort of intervention were little to none. But thankfully, the intervention did come, and it came in the form of an animal rescue group that happened to spot her a few days after the incident. The group was walking through the woods when they heard rustling coming from a patch of grass. They stopped short to pay close attention, and the noise grew louder. They followed the sound, and when they finally made it to the source of the noise, they couldn't believe their eyes. It was the strangest bird they had ever seen, a bald eagle with almost no beak. The poor thing clearly had little energy left, and even her squawks were getting quieter and weaker. They knew they had to help it, so they immediately scooped her up and took her to a place where she could be nursed back to good health. While they made the journey to the shelter, they all wondered what kind of person could do this to an animal. Unfortunately, they knew poachers liked to hunt in that area, and there was nothing they could do to prevent it. As soon as the rescuers brought Beauty in, the volunteers at the non-profit group Birds of Prey Northwest swung into action. They knew that the poor bird had been starving, and they couldn't possibly determine exactly how long she had been like this. Knowing that she could not feed by herself, the volunteers needed an alternative way of getting some food in her, and decided to use a small tube and a liquid mixture of nutrients. The rescuers and volunteers were delighted to see that the bird was very receptive to the food. She must have been very hungry. When the other volunteers at the shelter heard about what happened to the eagle, they were all so heartbroken. This was the reason they worked to places like this, because these beautiful birds didn't deserve this kind of unkind treatment. They named the bald eagle Beauty and rallied around her to help her recover. A vet examined Beauty and announced to the group that she was going to be all right beyond the broken beak. He also pointed out that it was good that the rescuers had found her before she starved to death. The volunteers continued nursing the injured bird and feeding her via tubes. When the bald eagle got stronger, they switched to hand feeding with forceps. To the delight of everyone at the non-profit shelter, Beauty was regaining her strength and was up and about in a short time. The team was, however, concerned that her beak showed no sign of healing. After a while, they had to come to terms with her new reality. This meant one thing: Beauty would never be able to feed herself ever again, meaning that she would not survive in the wild on her own. Beauty would have to adjust to life at the shelter without a beak. If she developed symptoms of depression or started to refuse the food provided by the volunteers, she would have to be put down. That was unless a miracle happened. In an unexpected turn of events, however, Beauty got her miracle. Raptor her specialist, Jane Fink Cantwell, could not bear the thought of this bird being euthanized or living a recluse life. She strongly believed that the eagle was saved for a higher purpose. The fact that it hadn't died from the injury or starvation before they found her meant that she was supposed to survive and thrive despite it all. Jane scheduled a meeting with mechanical engineer Nate Calvin of Kinetic Engineering Group and other scientists to share her idea. Sure, it was crazy, but with the right team, they could save Beauty. Jane wanted them to make a prosthetic beak for the bird. Together with Nate Calvin, a team of engineers and a dentist, Jane was able to bring her dream to life. They spent weeks planning, measuring, and making adjustments until they came up with the design for a nylon polymer beak that would be the perfect replacement of the eagle's broken one. Calvin began developing a new beak using a 3D modeling program. When the design model was ready, He manufactured it using a 3D printer. The new Beak came out beautiful, and the team could not wait to see it on Beauty. The next day, they got ready to attach the new Beak. First, they attached the metal mounts that would fit into the beak and hold it firmly in place. Then they tried attaching the new prosthetic itself. On the first attempt, however, it didn't fit perfectly. Some measurements were off by a few millimeters, and the team had to make adjustments. They made some tweaks as quickly as they could and gave it another shot. They were getting closer, but it wasn't quite perfect just yet. Still resilient in their resolve, they fixed a few things and tried it again for the third time. Everyone on the team screamed in unison, and this time the beak fits perfectly and stayed put. The eagle squealed in delight, and this warmed the hearts of everyone in the room. They were all grinning from ear to ear, glad to see the bird return to its full glory. All the work put in was worth it when they saw how happy Beauty was with Beak. Sure, it would never be a complete replacement for her natural beak, but this was the closest they could get her to being whole again. The next step was to test if Beauty's new beak was as functional as it was good-looking. The scientists brought in some food for her and watched. Beauty looked up at them, expecting to be fed as usual, but they just stared back eagerly. After a few minutes, she inspected the food slowly and carefully opened her. When the bird started eating, they all cheered again. Members of the team and other people in the room were elated when they saw that Beauty could eat, drink, and also groom herself. This was amazing news. Although Beauty could pretty much do everything on her own now, the new beak was not secure enough for her to return to the wild on her own. Still, she was more self-sufficient than she ever was without the artificial beak. Beauty's success story would also herald a new beginning for prosthetic body parts for other injured animals. Beauty remained in Jean's care, and their friendship blossomed beautifully. Many people who came to work or visit the wildlife center were in awe of the eagle's story and Jane's determination to find a solution. Theirs was a journey that many people would not forget. The specialist took to social media to share her birdie best friend story with the world. She believed people needed to be aware of the horrible effects poaching had on innocent wildlife creatures. The specialist in charge of caring for raptors expressed gratitude that Beauty was given a second chance at life following her ordeal. This encouraged the group of rescuers and volunteers to remain vigilant for other animals in distress in the wild, as the next creature in need of their assistance may already be out there, waiting for their help. Through their unwavering dedication and altruism, they have ensured that any wounded animal will be afforded a second opportunity to thrive. Such a fascinating tale. Are you familiar with the concept of prosthetics designed specifically for animals? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the team that aided Beauty in her recovery. Kindly share your opinions in the comment section below. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care.